All right, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time that the council votes on the motion unless members of the city council, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Would anyone from the public like to speak on these items? If so, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. Do we have any comments from the public on the consent calendar? Okay, we will be removing, as I mentioned earlier, item 6, which is Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant to include DUI enforcement and education efforts. City Clerk, do we have any email comments?
None received so far.
Thank you. Entertain a motion on the...
Through the Vice Mayor, move to approve the consent calendar items 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the consent calendar with the exception of item 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, the motion to approve the consent calendar with exception of item 6 is approved. And now we will take up item 6, the Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant to include the DUI enforcement and education efforts. This will be presented by Traffic Sergeant Kim Slade.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, City Council members. I talk loud enough. Tonight, I'm going to give you the staff report for this year's STEP grant. This year, the STEP grant includes $92,500 that we were awarded just recently because of COVID restrictions. It took a little bit longer than it normally does. So the grant entails from October 1 of this year, 2020, till September 30th of 2021. So what I'm looking for is to adopt a resolution for the Chief of Police to accept the grant in the sum of $92,500 from the Office of Traffic Safety. I'm also looking for the City Council to authorize supplemental appropriations in the given amounts to the appropriate account numbers. The fiscal impact to the city is that there's no matching fund required on this grant. So the $92,500 is just given to us from the federal government. This year, the grant includes 3 dash-mounted radars for equipment purposes and also 6 new preliminary alcohol screening devices. So that's what we will be acquiring after the 1st of October. So that's the equipment for this year. The rest of the monies, to include about $69,000, are to be included in overtime operational things such as DUI checkpoints, DUI saturations. We have general traffic enforcement, which then helps us deter some of recently, like some of our racing vehicles, things like that. So we do a lot of that. And then it does include, which we didn't have a lot this year because of COVID, it does include the bicycle and pedestrian programs, bicycle rodeos at the schools. With school being shut down, a lot of that stuff we didn't get to do this year because of COVID. So other than that, if anybody doesn't have any questions, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant Slade. Before we open up the public hearing, any questions from the council? Okay. All right. No questions from the council at this time. Public hearing on Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant is now open. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the council on this issue, please provide your statement via public comment and state your name and address for the record. Do we have any comments from the public? City Clerk, anything?
None received online.
Okay. Let me know if we do get anything. Hearing no further comment on this issue, I'm closing the public hearing, bringing the matter back to the council. Councilwoman Espindola.
Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. So you perked my interest in when you said these racing cars. What's going on there? I hear a lot of engine power out there on the street sometimes.
Yes, I think a lot of it has to do with just the times that we're in. A lot of kids that should be in college, should be away, for school and things like that. Right. They're just here. I think what you also have is you have a lot of automobile dealerships giving pretty much cars away for almost nothing, just with all the incentives and everything. So it's kind of pushed that industry. We all know. I mean, if you look at any of the stuff, that's one of the leading things as far as sales goes is the car dealerships. So I think that's what's pushing. Some of it is just, we've had a couple of what they call sideshows, car shows that have shown up in our area. About a month ago, we had a group of about 1,000 or more show up at our local Yuba College, and it was just something that was posted on Instagram. So, we've been trying to track some of that. A lot of that stuff that we found out is by invite only. So some of our personnel in the department have kids around that age that are interested in that stuff, and that's kind of how we've found out about some of the newer things or the more current things that have been coming through.
How are the DUI stops that have been happening? How's that been going?
It's been going good. We've had our last checkpoint, which was 2 weeks ago. We had one DUI arrest out of that, 3 people that were given FSTs, and then we had a couple other people just actually cited on just other misdemeanor warrants. So, and then regular saturation patrols, they're usually getting 2 or 3 a weekend.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you for your work, and I appreciate you keeping the streets safe when I'm crossing over, man. Sometimes I have to run a little faster, but thank you.
Councilman Cardoza, any?
Good.
Councilman Shaw?
Thank you.
No, I'm ready to go for a motion if you are, Vice Mayor.
Sure. I'll entertain a motion on item 6, please.
All right, through the Vice Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police to accept $92,500 in grant funding from the 2020-2021 Traffic Enforcement Program and approve expenditure recommendations. Likewise, authorize a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $92,500 to account number 100-434. 09 2167-61430, 2167-62801, and 2167-63801.
Second.
Fifth. Just kidding.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Shaw and a second by, this time I'm giving the award to Councilwoman Espinoza.
Mendoza.
I'm kidding. Espinoza.
You just blended with the Cardoza, right? Like it.
I figured you'd get a
Good.
kick out of that one.
I gotcha.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item 6 passes. Thank you, Sergeant Slade, and thank the rest of the unit for the good work they do.